the biggest slowdown in business isn't the tech, the funding, or even the strategy. It's the words. Words are where confusion begins. Listeners, they blur positioning, fuel Slack wars, and turn simple launches into endless cycles of revision. But on the other hand, words can also do the opposite. They can align, clarify, and move a team forward faster than any tool or framework. Welcome back, listeners, to today's episode on the Brisbane podcast. We are joined by Russell Van Brocklen. He's known as a dyslexia professor. Now, Russell has spent years helping students facing dyslexia turn daily frustrations into confident wins. And now he is showing founders and managers how a simple word first routine can slash revision churn, sharpen positioning, and help teams ship more with more fewer battles. So, as usual, Russell, welcome to the show, and it is such an honor to have you. Always with us.
Thank you for having me on.
Great. Okay. First of all, Russell, I think this is so basic, so fundamental. Not only in a single aspect, it's business or team communication. I think communication is such a vital part of we as humans. And I think words they make or break the deal in there. So let's get together it and you have said that clear sentences first is the foundation of shipping faster. Very interesting. Why do so many teams skip this step, Russell? And what happens when they do?
Well, I want you to imagine we're in the world of artificial intelligence. We're in the world of Google search. We're in the world where you have to communicate your message precisely and quickly and just nail the audience that you're going after. And what gets me is when I go and I speak to business people, I said, "Oh, how do you come up with your messaging? What is the essence of what you're trying to communicate?" And what they tell me, they're going over all these research models or what they heard on YouTube or what some professor said. And I tell you the truth, it's a lot of it's just garbage. So what I did is I said, well, here's a way that I train dyslexics to be far more efficient using the latest neuroscience out of a book called Overcoming Dyslexia, combined with a
Mhm.
book from the University of Chicago called The Craft of Research, Context Problem Solution. And when you combine those in different parts, you can, and especially using ChatGPT to automate things, to really get it
Mhm.
out a lot fast because we're working professionals. We're not here to do all the grunt work ourselves. Leave it to the AI. We're here to guide it. So you
Hmm.
combine all that together, and I can tell you very quickly how we can create a simple but powerful message using universal themes that would be incredibly helpful to getting things started, to getting you brainstorming, and with the appropriate advice from your board of directors and senior people that you know in business can help you craft that message very quickly and clearly.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it, Russell.
Okay. So this is what I use. This is what I use when I'm teaching dyslexics to read. I
Mhm.
call it the half circle process. So let me just give you an example of where the in something that we can all understand. Have you ever
Okay.
read a movie review from a major movie coming out where the reviewer went to an Ivy League college and they essentially said, this happened, and this happened. And it's like, you already know what's going on. So what's the point of watching the movie? It's like watching a football match and you know the score ahead of time if that was taped. Why watch it? Does that make sense?
A lot of times, Russell.
Okay, so what we do is going to give you a universal thing. So I want you to tell me a movie that everybody knows about that you really enjoy, that you know a lot about. Now, tell me the name of a famous movie.
Oh, okay. That's tough because a lot of movies are new. Okay, let's take Star Wars.
Star Wars. Okay. What is the one universal theme, one word that represents Star Wars?
Hmm. Okay. Power, light.
Power. Okay. So What we would do is that one universal theme of power, we would then do a review on how the actors did with the universal theme of power, the director, and the screenwriter. And with that, if you're a writer, then you know how to write a review. But do you see how when you come up with it off the top of your head, it's really broad and it's not really the best you can come up with. You just
Yeah.
see that problem.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
I'm going to
And
show you, yeah, I'm going to now show you how to fix that.
okay.
Okay. So the first thing that you need to do is we're going to identify a hero, a universal theme, and a villain. But we're going to do the universal theme in your voice, what best represents who you are. So you're going to want to pick a person who is going to be the vision person for your company. And this is not a committee. This is one person's view. All right. You put a
Mhm.
committee in and it muddles it horribly. So who's the person in your company who has the vision? Typically it's the founder, but maybe it's somebody else.
Founder,
You
yeah.
you pick that
Yeah.
person. So now we're going to go and we're going to look at your customer. Go to ChatGPT or whatever AI you want to use and know who your customer is exactly. Like I'm writing a book. My book is for
Mhm.
homeschooling mothers who are trying to get their dyslexic elementary school child to grade level. That's my audience. It's very specific. You can do this with different segments, not one big one, but you should do it with different segments, but find out who your audience is exactly. That's your hero. Now, what you want to do is, and I would highly recommend people that are using, if you're using ChatGPT, spend the $200, get the Pro edition. It's so much better. When it came out last December, I bought it first day for $200, and it was so worth it. All right, now you know who your hero is. Go to the most thinking AI you can find, and ask it, what is it that the hero wants to do? Okay, with 5 Pro, I would say, give me this in the longest narrative possible, which will
Mhm.
be about 2,000 words. Then I would go ahead and I would use that to fill in the questions for my Chat GPT um, prompt agent. Okay, it's a prompt outline that
Mhm.
I created. You need to get, usually mine asks like something like 80 questions.
Mhm.
Okay, have it answer those. Make sure you answer every one. And yes, every time you ask 5 Pro to do something, it thinks for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fill it in, run a deep research report. Know exactly who your customer is. I asked for a 20 to 30,000 word report. All right. Then from 5 Pro, reduce that um, to uh you take that and you can either reduce it to something about 2,000 words or you can go in with a huge report, whatever it is, 10, 15,
Mhm.
30,000 words, whatever.
Mhm.
Next step, this is very important. You're going to need to describe two types of words, action words and most important words. And people start asking me at this point, why are we bothering? As I said, what we're doing is we're taking what I use for dyslexia in a book called Overcoming Dyslexia by Sally Shaywitz from Yale. All right.
Uh-huh.
What we're doing is this is trying why we're doing this quickly. That part of the dyslexic brain has almost no neuroactivity. If you want to see it, it's Overcoming Dyslexia, second edition, page number 78, figure number 23. But that part of the dyslexic brain has like almost no neuroactivity. Normal brain is going
Mhm.
crazy. The front part of the dyslexic brain is 2.5 times more active. It deals with word analysis followed by articulation. So we're doing word analysis. And yes, if you happen to have a dyslexic, yeah, this could be a very good thing to work with them on. All right, so we're
Yeah.
starting off with word analysis. So we're going to look for two types of words, and then we're going to analyze it to start off with. We're going to start off
Okay.
with
The most
an
important
action word.
words.
Yep.
Okay.
Action word is, what's an action word? It's a word that takes the hero from where they are in the general direction of where they want to go. Okay.
Mm.
So that's all
Okay.
it is. It's just moving them in that general direction. So you go to ChatGPT and you ask it to find all the action words.
Action words.
That's why you may want to reduce that 25,000 word report down to 2,000 words. It's up to
Uh-huh.
you. So it comes up with all the action words. Then you say,
So,
go find the most important
mhm.
words. All right. So what's
Mhm.
your question?
Yeah, so actually I tried it with 200 words.
Mhm.
Okay, I gave a command to give the action words in there. So it has now given me like a category of action words. So more towards heroic, which is fight, resist, protect, sacrifice, lead. Now it has also given me the dark side, which kind of connects with the essence and the Star Wars. Control, manipulate, conquer, corrupt, or destroy. Then there's another component, which is the spiritual action words like surrender, transform, awaken. That's something very interesting, Russell.
Right. But and this is why you need a human to guide ChatGPT. You can't
Mm.
just turn it over to it. What's going on is that is why you have to know precisely what it is the hero wants to do. And this is why I go to 5
Mm.
Pro to get this done as best I can. Once you get all the words listed, whatever they are, the next step is to make sure they understand what the hero wants to do. Then you have ChatGPT go and come up with custom definitions for all the action words and all the most important words. Okay.
Mm.
And you might
Mm.
be looking at 50, 100, over 1,000. I've had that happen. So then what you do is you break it up into the numbers. You say, what can you realistically take? 5 Pro can take so much more than 5 thinking or 5. I wouldn't even touch this with 5. You have to do at least 5 thinking, but you do much better with Pro. So once you have all the action words with their definitions, you then say, this is what the hero wants to do. Again, and you know exactly what that is and say, which one of these two words best represents what the hero wants to do? Pick one, chuck the other one. Then you're going to look at the next two. Same thing. Pick the one that best represents what the hero wants to do. Have it run all the way down until it has the 5 or 10 best action words. You don't want it to come up with a final one. You want it to reduce it to the top 5 or 10. Okay.
Mm.
So I have it look at both and then check it out. Secondarily, is trying to find out what the 5 or 10 best one in its opinion. Then you, as the human, decide which one of the 5 or which one of the 10 is the best one. All this
Mm.
did, and this is going back to basic creativity. If you have brainstorm, if you have a list of 100 ideas or 1,000 ideas, the best word is probably in the 1,000, just how it works. So
Mhm.
you go 5 or 10, then you pick the word and the definition that you think best represents what the customer wants. You, the human, not AI. Then you do the same thing for the most important word, and then you have one word each. Then you decide which direction you want to go. I'm going to let you know most of the time it's the most important word, which is simply defined as the most important word of the sentence. Okay. So, some sentences will have multiple most important words, but make sure the AI knows that. All right. Why are we doing this? Because that's a form of word analysis. I keep going
Mm.
back to Yale's research word analysis followed by articulation. Now, that's what we call your base universal theme. Like when you said for Star Wars, our. Well, it's so general. But now what
Mm.
you want to do is find out something specific to this person. Okay.
Mm.
Not a committee, a person. So the person that's representing your vision, you have AI come up with 50 synonyms and their custom definitions, 100, 500. I had people try 1,000. It's up to you. All right. So you have that created and do it in batches. Don't try to have this done all at one time. Doing this correctly, because this is your company you're betting on here. If you blow a couple of hours doing this, remember you can have AI doing this in the background with 5 Pro while you're doing something else, and it's taking 10 to 25 minutes to do every step. That's perfectly fine. Okay, I do it all the time. For me, I'll have, because I'm a pro member, I'll have 5 Pro on the internet doing something.
Mm.
Then on the app on my MacBook Air, I'll have it doing something. And then I'll be doing something else while it's processing forever. I'll give my attention to that and then go back, and I just go back between those 3 things to be as productive as possible. Okay. So then once you get it all the way done, I would go and do the same thing. Run it one at compared to what the hero wants to do. Have it go through the same process, and you're recommending it to come up with 5 or 10 best words that you think best represents what your real universal thing, and then you pick it. Which one best represents what you're thinking? And I had people go through this process several times until they found a word that meets 2 criteria that best matches what's there in what's in their head of what the hero wants, and the one that they think also matches what would be really good for communication to that client. Okay. All right. You kind of play with that. At the end, that is your post universal theme. All right. That's where you're going to run everything through, because if you have a universal theme and you have the definition that you really like, that this is what you're looking for, and you run your marketing through that universal theme, it crystallizes things so well. All right. Then the next one is, what your hero, what your customer wants to do. Then you need to find who the ultimate villain is. The ultimate villain is a person or a concept that best prevents the hero, your customer, from accomplishing their goals. Find out what that is. Or maybe it's a choke point. What is keeping them from being successful? And then I will go and redo the process looking through the villain's eyes. I just switch them around. And then I come up with a final universal theme for the villain. So I have a 360-degree understanding of this. All right. So now the next step, all right, I'm just going to give you the basic version, is you're going to take your hero, your universal theme, and your villain, and tell AI to come up with a basic sentence. All right. Then add because, and now we're moving into articulation. Give me 3 good reasons why. For each reason, take the reason and ask AI to come up with a simple universal theme. Okay. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take that universal theme and you're going to run it through your proprietary documents. This is very critical. You're going to want to talk to legal about this. What can we put into AI, into ChatGPT? Yes, if you're on a paid account, they say they're not going to touch your data or whatever, but they were just sued by all these reporters and everybody else, and some of that data might have been turned over to them. That's what AI was arguing in court. All right, you want to get some ideas from legal or from somebody who has a background in this, what you can feed into AI. And it's not going to be everything. I'm just going to tell you right now. So you find out what your approved document is, you just dump it in. And this is another reason for 5 Pro, because there's a much better context window. Maybe what you're doing is too big and you got to go to Google or Anthropic, because I know Google has a much bigger context window. You feed it all in there, and then what you're trying to do is now that you have your universal theme, find every quote that deals with these 2 universal themes. Everything. Okay? And then from there, you're going to want to knock those quotes down to one that's at the beginning of a customer's process and one that's near the end. The best one that kind of represents that. Okay. So now I just gave you that you now have the data to support what you're trying to communicate.
Yeah.
You have the quotes that you can use. And to end this simple part on this initial process, what you do is, once you have the quotes, pick one, answer who, what, when, where, how, why for each one, have ChatGPT do this, and turn it into a 3-paragraph essay. Then what you're going to do is ask it to create a problem statement. What I just showed you was context. Answering who, what, when, where, how, why for each quote. That's the context. Get everybody on the same page. You're going to ask it to reduce it to a one sentence problem statement. And then from there, reduce it to a 1-word universal theme. You're going to ask it to take everything that it's written, again, tell it what the hero wants to do, what your customer wants to do. You tell it to keep the essentials, dump the excess, keep the core, dump the fluff, reduce what I have here to about half, and keep doing that until you get down to about 3 sentences. If your human is going to do this step, you got to get it down to 1. I usually have AI do this. reduce it to 3 sentences. Then you're going to take the context and run it through that universal theme, the problem universal theme. You know, the problem statement, you had it reduced to a one-word universal theme. You're going to run that context through that universal theme and come up with 3 solutions. I'll have the AI do that initially. Then I'll reduce
Mhm.
that 3 sentences down to one, because humans can only really do one sentence, and then do the same thing. You come up with solutions. Have 5 Pro look through and say which the best ones are, see if you agree or disagree with it. See if your team agrees or disagrees with it. You now have solutions, you have the data pointed there, and you can then take those solutions, and you know what universal theme to help take your ad copy or what you want to discuss. You take all that together. So let me be very clear. You have your solutions that you're looking to provide to your clients. You have your quotes from your material, and you have your universal theme that is going to be the lens that you run through everything. Take all that and dump it into 5 Pro and say, okay, this is what we're trying to do. A LinkedIn post, we're trying to do an article, we're trying to do a Google ad. How do I give me some ideas based on this? Okay. And then it's a messy process for whatever you're doing from there. But now you have something to really start off with.
Exactly. Wow. I mean,
So
we, go ahead, listen.
no, I'm saying that is just a very kind of organized, messy
Yeah.
process to get the basics out. And this is what I do with dyslexics all the time. And this is how I solve the reading and writing 10x more efficient than anything else out there.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I mean, um, it is definitely super structured. Each of the aspect is very specific. The theme or the fundamentals or the principles, values. Then you have the customers, defined properly, clearly. You have the villain or the problem statement. You have the context in there. Then the quotes. And I think there's such a brilliant coordination in there. And it's like, we're going backwards. We are calculating it backwards, and then we are trying to bring out the what exactly we want to, share maybe with our internal stakeholders or external stakeholders or on social media or, in public.
Yes, and just what this is.
Hmm.
I do all of this. I just have 5 Pro in the background going through each of these steps.
Yeah.
And I'll start off at 9 in the morning and I'll finish up this sometime late morning, sometime in the afternoon. And then I'm doing other things while, 5 Pro's thinking forever. All right. When you're done with this, the absolutely most ridiculous way you can put yourself out of business is take this information and just expect 5 Pro or any other artificial intelligence to give you the final step, to give you the Google ad, to give you the LinkedIn post. What you need to do is have it drafted out and then have a senior human who's a real expert in that area. I mean, somebody who's really mastered what they're doing. And then they can take this as a draft and they will then, most likely using AI, completely give you something very different. Like, for example, when I'm doing my book, it's about a mother whose her name is Kimberly. I have full permission to tell her story. She started
Mhm.
working with her son Reed, who's dyslexic, 5th grade homeschooler. He was tested in December of 2024 at a 190 for his Ohio reading and writing. That was basically beginning 3rd grade level. He was expected to increase by 1.86 points if he was in public schools for the rest of the school year. Grade levels
Mhm.
211. He didn't increase 1.86 points. He increased by 20 points.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Okay.
11 times higher than what you would have expected. 11 times over 3 standard deviations, scored a 210, grade levels 211. He went on to 6th grade because his friends wanted him in public school to be with them. He's in public school class doing just fine. Okay. So I'm doing a book on that. And I wrote it using artificial intelligence, doing endless, multiple deep research reports on each chapter, everything else. I
Mm.
spent a couple of days. I mean, we're talking compute time, probably 12, 13 hours of 5 Pro to write the first draft. Then I sent it to a really good human editor. And she gave me something back that looked nothing like what I sent her. Nothing. But I saved her a tremendous amount of work. And I see that all the time. A senior human will rip what the AI does apart, come up with something that looks completely different, but you gave them a good first draft and saved them all of that work. So understand that this is to get you started, to get you a good first draft, so that your senior human can then rip it apart and come up with something that looks nothing like what you gave them.
Absolutely. And the best part here is, it's not just AI is doing the entire work, but there's definitely that human contribution to it, and it may not be uh, as expected or as same, delivered by AI. Something completely entirely different.
If I get something very similar back from a human that I give them from an AI, even no matter how much prep work, I'm very
Mhm.
disappointed in that person.
Mm.
I don't want to work with that person. I want the person who's going to rip it apart and make it so much better, because I know at this level, all that AI is good for is to get you a really good first draft. And if the
Mhm.
human who is doing the work can't rip it apart and come back with something so much better, then I think that you're not dealing with a senior human. Okay. And you really need to work with senior humans. And I'm not saying it has to be somebody with 30 years of experience. I've seen really bright kids come out with a master's degree. And yes, it's generally a master's, not a bachelor's, because you learn more in a master's than you do as an undergrad. They come
Mhm.
out and then they go in, they intern, they work, and within a couple of years, they are a senior person who can do
Mhm.
this. Okay. That's what you're looking for. So you want to hire senior people in your startup. One good senior person is worth 5 or 10 average people, or even above average people. You want to use AI ruthlessly and efficiently to get you to that draft stage, and then have a senior people that you hire rip it apart and do so much better. Our startups don't need huge numbers of people now. They need a small number of the right people.
Absolutely. Oh, wow. Okay. That was something, listeners. That was something. I think Russell, he very, very clearly demonstrated that words, they aren't something, to put as a decoration or to entice or attract. They are infrastructure. They can be structured and clear, crystal clear sentences. They can create um, paragraphs. They can enhance communication. And of course, they can also make your messy business structured as well. Russell, I couldn't thank you enough. I mean, this is something, very, very unique, something really, it's definitely a golden nugget, a gift in there. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. And if anybody wants to know more about this process, because I just gave you the quick basic version, if you go on to
Mhm.
dyslexia classes, and that's dyslexia classes, plural with an S, dyslexiaclasses.com, there's a contact me form. Just fill it out and I'll get back to you within 12 hours. And as I said, this is not even scratching the surface of what I do.
There's more than that to it.
Oh, this is nothing. The real value that I train people in is how to come up with an innovative solution that literally changes everything. I've worked with doctoral students to come up with ideas for their doctoral dissertations. And remember what I said, crafted research is context problem solution. When I do solutions for high school, they'll do like Romeo and Juliet and come up with a paper that is original at the graduate level every time.
Mm.
And those are teenagers.
Great, great. So, listeners, I'll make sure to have all the details so that you can connect with Russell. And until then, this is your host, Sana, and this has been Disciplined. Thank you.
Thank you.